Hello, everyone, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Was That in Good Taste presents Behind the Bar production, The Tasting Table. We have a very special episode for you today, and as we get into it, I'll be your humble guide through this tasting table journey excursion. My name's going to be Chandler Phillips, and with me, as always, is the other one of your hosts. Hosts, what do we call you?
Just call me James Chandler. I am excited today. We have something special, as we do every day. Something delicious. Something New York-based, the best place in the world, of course. And friendship and humor and some other shit. Chandler, what the hell is happening today?
Well, we made some friends recently. Some good friends over at Shady Knoll Distillery and Orchards up in the Hudson Valley. They gave us a lot of paperwork. Well, not paperwork. I got a lot of good printouts and stuff. They're located in Millbrook, New York. And they have provided us with a flight of tastings of some of their award-winning rye whiskeys, as well as, I believe, an award-winning apple brandy and a pommeau as well. Have you ever heard of that? Have you ever heard of a pommeau?
No, I think I've seen it before, but I don't really know anything about it. Millbrook? Hudson Valley, New York, one of my favorite places to go. There are lots of good distilleries and breweries up there. One of my favorite places to go. Hop on the train, go up to Beacon, go hiking, go into Hudson Valley, and there's tons of awesome places, I guess, like Shady Knoll.
And what's really cool and what I'm really excited about for this specific tasting is they are kind of the epitome of farm to bottle when it comes to what they're producing, what they're putting out. They are so grassroots that we might even end up with a little bit of soil in this tasting. They are that close. They make everything pretty much in-house. And what they don't have in-house, they source from local farms in the area. So that's to say they grow rye grains and wheat grains. They also have their own apple orchard with a ton of different varietals of apples that all go into their apple brandy and pommeau. And some of the mash bill for their rye whiskey and other whiskeys features corn, but the corn is grown locally in that Hudson Valley as well. You know, it's just part of the whole, like, farmers helping farmers, everyone working together, create a community, which I think is just kind of super badass.
Yeah, if you're not from New York, you probably don't realize that, like, I mean, New York is the apple state. New York's biome is pretty fucking ridiculous.
Look, they don't call it the small apple.
I know, it's true. It's the big apple, right?
They don't call it the big orange.
You know, New York is many things, corn being one, rye being another, but apples being the primary thing. And actually, I'm not going to lie, I think I might have been to Shady Knoll before. The thing is, a lot of the orchards upstate are pretty awesome. You drive on up. You get a little bag or two. Usually they just do the cost by bag. They have tons of varietals. This is the kind of thing that any good brandy distillery in the state should be doing. If you are an orchard in New York and you have apples and you're making brandy, the corn should come from New York. If you're adding rye, the rye should come from New York, because New York is one of the few places, you know, I mean, states are kind of different, but New York is one of the few states where you do get you get a high quality rye.
Yeah.
You know, there are different corn varietals that we also have here in the state.
Well, and New York rye has quickly become kind of the hallmark of New York distilling. As we've talked about before, the whole Empire rye thing, where New York grains, New York ryes are on the rise. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of become the New York distillery bread and butter, is doing these kind of big, in-your-face, sweet, spiced, robust ryes. And you compare that to some of the stuff that you'll see maybe going out west, and they're kind of following suit. Maybe you'll see a little bit more wheat on a mash bill as you go further west. But still, like, the New York rye has become such a staple in the New York distilling scene.
I mean,
and it's just
synonymous.
And I think it's really cool that we get to see, or that we get to try some whiskeys that are doing everything from the cultivation, harvesting, fermenting, distilling, bottling, aging. Everything is happening in New York at their facilities. So yeah, just big shouts out to the to Shady Knoll Distillery, the Kniper Richards family, who are the owners of that.
Shout out.
Big shouts out. And yeah, it's just this is really cool. Also, their rye whiskey, which we're about to taste, did get the award for Best American Rye Whiskey
From ADI.
From ADI International Spirits Competition in 2024. Also won gold at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition in 2023. These guys have been around. They did a soft launch kind of 2018, 2019, and have gradually been growing. And I'm really, really excited to try some of the product here. So we have it poured up right now in our little snifters. This is their rye whiskey, and we're kind of getting in on a ground floor level. This is only their batch number 5, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. They've been around for, God, what year is it now? 2026?
2026. Oh, what batch is this for real? Batch 5?
Batch 5.
So it's aged 5 years, right? So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. That's that. But like, I don't know how that works actually, because they started before they opened.
What
It's 5 years. It's 5 batches.
Yeah, but they're not.
Oh, they're not doing
5 years.
No, I know
between
that.
Batches.
No, I know that. Why did I say that? No, it's like 25 labor years. It's
okay.
Because they make them consecutively.
Yeah.
Because they make them consecutively, but that's a lot of effort. That's what I meant. It's a lot of effort.
A lot of honing.
Yeah, especially if they're only been around for like 6, 7 years. You know what I mean? 6, 7. Especially because we've talked before about small distilleries and outsourcing. Not saying that's the world's biggest, worst.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
In case we have to do that, I'm just saying.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
But like, finding people who, I mean, come on. Again, you're in Orchard upstate. I don't think that you need to outsource to MGP, because I think that you're going to have kind of everything at hand.
When you got the land and you got the resources to make so much of your own stuff, it is tough. That's the thing. It is tough to make something and then wait 5 years before you can put it into put it on your shelves.
This is where orchards come a little different, right?
Yeah.
Because the orchards are doing different things. They're having people come in doing apple picking. They're doing brandy, probably not at the 5 and 3 year aging as some of these are. You know what I mean? And so they're able to sustain a business.
They do distillery tours though, by appointment. So that's kind of cool. If you ever want to pick a date, maybe we walk around. I don't know. I'm just kind of soft launching that at you a little bit.
84 proof.
Yeah. So give us the people over at Shady Knoll were so gracious and gave us like these whole printouts with like all the details. I had to do so little research, and yet I'm so intrigued and I wanted to do so much more, because they gave us these nifty printouts with all the specs of their whiskeys. So James, what do we got? Like, what's on the mash bill? What are the deets?
What we got here? Okay, 84 proof, 70. What's 42% alcohol by volume?
Ooh. Okay, so a little softer. Not going to be like a punchy in the face with the booze.
70% rye.
Love
which
it.
I'm excited for. Mm-hmm. I'm excited for this. Are they part of the High Rye Association?
They are not. At least to my knowledge. I think for a rye to be part of the High Rye, or at least the Empire Rye,
I keep calling it High Rye. Yeah.
then it has to be 91%.
Oh, okay.
But otherwise, like, they pretty much reach all of the essentials of like grains grown in New York. It's blah 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 blah.
70% rye, 15% corn, 15% malted barley. I'm not gonna lie, I personally like a 10% or above kind of malted barley. I like that a lot. I like the chewiness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It kind of gives a little bit of a graham crackery kind of thing to it.
Ooh, double distilled. French
Double up.
Amblic. I don't even know how to pronounce this one. I've never know how to pronounce this. Charentas.
I'm gonna be honest. I have never seen that word before in my
I've
life.
seen it before, but I
don't even know who she is.
fermented and distilled on the grain. 5 years.
Wait, it's they distill it on the so we've done a little bit of moonshining ourselves.
Yep.
Usually,
Yep.
if you're like brewing or distilling or something, you have a mash bag, and then you'll take that out, strain it out, and distill from there. This is kind of like, remember the Sir Lee?
Yeah.
Where they kept the husks and everything in it. That does tend to impart a little bit more of a tannin to the product.
We've talked before, distilled spirits don't have terroir, but like if you want to influence it in some form or fashion, leaving the grains inside of the spirit will do that because some of the physical particulates are going in there. 5 years in new charred white oak American barrels, kind of like a bourbon.
I'm actually really surprised that their like base level rye whiskey is a 5-year, because that's kind of badass. Like, usually you'll get one that's like a 2, maybe a 3-year, and you're like, okay, it's had a little time to kind of mature a little bit. But a 5-year, that's giving you a lot of room to work with. And they're done in the charred American oak barrels. That's so bourbon of them. That's so bourbon. But the finishing on it, and that's what kind of got my ears perked up. What's the finishing on it?
Oh my God. This is the best part. Finished for several months. How many months? We don't know. Maybe, I feel like it's probably like 3 or more usually.
They already got 5 years in an oak barrel.
When I say several, I tend to think 3 or more. Use Portuguese port barrels.
Whoa.
This is crazy.
That is such an interesting. It's soft.
It is very soft.
It's very delicate. That's wow. Like when we had the Breckenridge, especially the high rise and the port finished ones, it was definitely like very round, very kind of big, bold. It had a very bounce to it. This is it kind of is a little reserved.
It is. The spice from the rye is there, but like I'm tasting the rye. We've talked about this before. You can get the spice from the rye. That exists, but I feel like I'm tasting the rye. I'm tasting the malt.
Well, and it's not hitting the front of my gums and the tip of my teeth, the tip of the tongue, the teeth, the lips. It's not hitting that nearly as much as like a typical big Empire rye. Like, what's the song Rhapsody in Blue?
Wow,
that's kind of how it tastes. But like the opening, the
okay, I'm not sure.
But then, like usually a big Empire rye is like
yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the thing. It's complex, right? Mm-hmm. But it's soft.
It's a little soft.
The spice is there, but I'm getting a lot of the malt. I can almost feel the malt in my mouth. I can practically chew it, but instead of it being this big, punchy, malty kind of malt liquor type thing, instead of the rye smacking me around and calling my mama, I'm getting I think you would call like an elevated expression of each of the individual components. You know what I mean? The corn is a good foundation,
I wonder too if just because of the way we got the samples on them, because there's so much open air space in the mason jar that we got, which, God, now we have 4 new mason jars.
I'm not gonna. I
needed some mason jars as well.
What? How long was it in there?
About like 3 weeks.
I would say that that's not that long. I would say that if it was in there for a few months, I think that it would significantly change. I guess the expression is the but instead, I think because it was sitting in there, it's not like it was sitting in a glass. You're you're kind of getting the straight from the snifter little, like you exposed it to a little bit of air, but not to too much.
Well, so you were saying this one was a little on the softer side. It wasn't going to kind of punch you around, push you around, kind of run your pockets a little bit. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to move on to
so good, make you want to say hello to your mother.
Makes me want to call your mother. Now we're going to move on to the single barrel rye, which This one's clocking in at 59.5% ABV. And
Where your mother at?
one of the tasting notes that's on here is robust and full-bodied, delivering a bold punch.
Immediately from the nose as well.
Let's see.
Much softer on the nose for the single barrel rye, right? We didn't really talk about the port nature because I think that there's a little bit of whininess, slight to this, but it's like way at the end of the palate. When you smell it, it's soft, it's malty.
So little soft.
This here, punch,
Hooah!
punch. What's the bill? What's the
It's the same as the rye whiskey. This is just their single barrel. This is
Oh.
just their barrel strength.
Oh, so this is their diluted regular rye, and that's the straight
Yeah.
up from the barrel.
Straight, they just took a pull from the barrel, and this is
Same 70, same 15.
Same 70, 15, 15. And this is their batch 2. So we're getting pretty close to like their first runs. What's kind of interesting too is they're distilling. They'll do a stripping run and then they'll do they're not with other whiskeys, particularly Irish whiskeys, you'll get like 3 runs or triple distilled kind of thing. The double distillation, you're really just getting one to kind of take out the stuff that isn't alcohol, and then one to kind of refine it and hone it in. So you get there's a lot of room for the character of the initial expression to come through. Once you hit 4 or 5 times distilled, you're getting into vodka territory, and not that there's anything wrong with that,
Okay.
but
All
right.
What's happening here
I've sniffed it,
The
but
malt
I haven't.
is chewy. The rye, it kicks. This is fantastic.
Whoa.
Okay, this is fantastic. We drank something recently where I talked about the char of the barrel kind of being a little too much, right? And there's something about these being 5 year. These are, the expression is 5 years, right? And you're not getting that same super char from the traditional level 3 New American charred white oak barrel. Instead of just getting the char,
Yeah.
this is just overall a real complete. There weren't expressions in my mind a lot because I think this is a really good way to say it. As a complete package, spiced, chewy, not as delicate, a little more warm, a little sweeter. I think I actually am getting a little bit of the port actually in the single barrel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm getting a little bit more of that kind of a little bit of sweetness. There's a little bit that wininess at the end of the palate is still there, but now it's kind of coating the entirety of my mouth. Chandler,
That's got a punch. That's got a wow. I'm a big fan of that. The single barrel rye has got what I felt like I was missing from the just the regular rye was I kind of wanted a little bit more of a tingle, and the single barrel has a lot of tingle. It's tingling.
ooh,
It's tingling.
it's spicy.
Yeah. That's wow. It's almost got a little bit too of the kind of must of an old piano.
I was just gonna say there's a more fermented characteristic.
Yeah.
I think that's coming from because it's fermented on grain, right? Which means I think that a little bit of the physical particulates, you know what I mean, from the fermented malt.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I'm tasting for the rye so much. I think I'm tasting fermented malt.
It's kind of reminding me vaguely, and this is real vaguely, of I had some family that lived in Albany for a bit, and they had a house with a big backyard that was it was a hill that went down until kind of a trough, and then it went back up into woods. And I was a youngin', and I was just beelining right down the hill and ended up eating shit. But because it's always just kind of temperate rainforest up there a little bit, the ground wasn't hard. Like you just kind of hit grass little bit, maybe got a little bit of dirt in your mouth, but you're able to just kind of pick up and keep running. That's how this tastes. Like you're running. There's maybe a slight kind of fog going on. You're just beelining down a hill as a kid. You hit the ground, you bounce a little bit, you skid, and you're like, whoa, let's do that again.
I would say that this is a little less elegant than the rye, but it makes sense, right? Because being a single barrel coming straight from the tap up into your mouth,
straight from the teat,
right? You know, literally, you're getting the raw. You know what I mean? The raw expression. That's the word of the day. Expression.
But you are though expressions.
Like you're getting it as raw as possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas
do you like it?
No, I do.
Raw?
I mean I love it. I love it raw.
Yeah.
I love it
Maybe
raw.
you like it raw.
Yeah. I think that the difference between the two really is that the rye whiskey, the award winning, is one. I don't know how to say, because obviously this is made with intent. Obviously.
Yeah.
You know, but I think that this is what they wanted it to be. This is the delicious. This is the absolute. This is the bone. You know what this is? Right?
What's
you know what
that?
this is? This is when your partner nice and hard.
Whoa.
And this is when they give it to you nice and hard, but give you a kiss on the cheek.
Oh.
You know what I mean? There's a little consideration in this. You know, making it a little less boozy. Taking the edge off a little bit.
Yeah. Part of me kind of is curious that maybe if they kept it around more like a 45, maybe like a 49%, perhaps it would scratch the itch a bit more. But I get what you're saying, where it's like, it's a little bit more compassionate. It's a little bit more like lovey-dovey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, because you're thinking about it, you know, if you're thinking about somebody who wants to be sipping on a delicious rye whiskey, there are different types of people, which is why they have the two. You have the person who wants way more of the spice. They want the boldness. They want the kick, the burn. They want to chew on the malt. And this one, you get that, but you get it in like you're sitting in a nice restaurant. You know, you're wearing some cute capris, and you have a funny little male person hat, and your partner. Now, this is not a knock. This is a good thing. This is the hottest partner ever. You know, your partner got tons of pronouns. You know, your partner's awesome. They got cool hair. You're all at like a cool place, and you're like having delicious rye whiskey. It's award winning.
It's award winning.
The single barrel. Oh, the single barrel is more like you're somebody who has a really nice home bar. Like somebody who has a really nice home bar,
and you kind of want them to put a cigarette out.
You're looking for a little less.
Oh,
you're looking because you're looking. If you go to a nice restaurant, I think you would pair the rye with something.
Yeah.
Whereas if you were at maybe the distillery, maybe you would do a flight so that you could also get the single barrel.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the rye, the standard rye. I think would make an excellent Manhattan. I think it would make an exceptional Sazerac.
Oh, yes.
I think, you know, it's got a delicateness to it that I think maybe with just like a teeny bit of, maybe not orange bitters, but do you know, the chocolate,
oh, yeah.
The Juxolotl.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
The Aztec bitters.
Yeah, I know how to say it, but now that you said it wrong,
Yeah.
I'm suddenly anxious and won't say it. But yes, but I think that's because, you know, there is some sort of, it's interesting. I wouldn't say orange is correct.
No,
right?
Because I don't think citrus is the thing. But I think there's a depth to it. Like, I would almost want to try it in a cocktail
Rich
with
orange marmalade.
Ancho Reyes, I think would be a fun.
It says orange marmalade.
Orange marmalade.
I didn't even know they had taste. I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, look,
Hey, who needs tasting notes when we're making them up on the fly?
I know, right? Cereal. I mean, I think I like to not look at it so I can kind of warm cereal, gray nose, surprising cherry, right? Banana palate. I understand the banana because it's slightly sweet.
Yeah.
But the rich orange marmalade, I kind of understand where that's coming from. That's the spice, and that's a little bit of the sweetness coming from the port.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I see that. Actually, I think the rye might be good with damn. I bought oranges for some reason too. I feel like a single slice, maybe just inside of the rye, might be kind of interesting.
That could be.
Instead of putting a drop of water or something like that, you know.
I think maybe like a chocolate orange. Like you remember those where that's like the foil.
Oh, on the side.
Yeah.
You can serve it with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or even
That's our idea.
Or like the Woodford chocolate bitters and like a dash of orange bitters.
Oh, I
and
can
then
see
doing
that.
something kind of like that, maybe.
Just with ice, straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like, you know.
Because it doesn't even really need too much of a sweetener. It's got a good sweet kind of.
I wouldn't serve it up. I would serve it on the rocks with probably.
One big rock.
Yeah, one big rock with on top like a nice serving of two types of bitters. One big of an orange bitter.
Yeah.
And maybe one of like the chocolate bitter.
Bloop, 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 bloop.
You know.
We blooping.
Yeah, I love that. What we got going on here? This guy's pouring stuff. Ooh.
So now we got their award-winning apple brandy. This is their batch 3 apple brandy, and from what I understand of them, this is really their bread and butter. They're a big fun.
I don't think it's their
orchard.
bread and butter, Chandler. I think it's their brandy.
Well, it's their apples and it's apples and
Apple
oranges.
butter.
It's apples and oranges. So their apple brandy, this is pretty cool. It's a blend of 120 varieties of apples.
It's all the apples.
All from their orchard too. That's God.
Have you been to an orchard up here?
Have I been to an orchard up here? No.
You should.
I tried to last year, and I was trying to get up there, and then it got too late in the day, and then like we missed the shuttle bus to get there.
All right, we got to do it because
gotta go
it's
to an
super
orchard.
fun. One of the best things about orchards up here is that other places obviously have apples, but just like if you go to Florida and there's tons of oranges, you know what I mean? This is the apple place.
Yeah.
You walk through, you eat as many apples as you want off the trees, you throw them in a bunch of bags. It costs you what, $5 to $7 per
wild.
bag, and you can they don't really care as long as you shove them in the bags and make sure it's closed. That's the rule.
Okay.
Close the bag. The bag doesn't have to be perfectly sealed.
Well, here's what I would want from an apple orchard experience.
Okay.
I would want to then be able to press said apples that I harvest so that I can get like a big old thing of pressed apple cider.
Then that's why you take the shit home.
Well, okay, so now I got to get an apple press?
No, you would blend it, and then you would get a cheesecloth, and you would just...
I got to blend it now?
This guy's not a New Yorker.
I got to blend
What's
apples?
in the 108 apples? 109?
120 different apples.
120?
Not 100.
This is brandy mogging.
Not just 120 apples. Different types of apples.
You didn't know?
Well, okay, you're gonna make fun of me because you're like, oh, this is New York. This is where we do apples. Like you're gonna hit me with all of this like, welcome to New York, you fucking townie. And I did not know there were 120 different types of apples, and I gotta be honest, it's a bit excessive. It's a bit much for your varietals. But they got them. They're European apples. They're American apples. That I don't know. How do you like them?
I mean, I like them.
How do you like them apples?
120. Oh my god, apple juice, fermented, 6-9 months. I mean, obviously.
But did you read the fermented part? They don't use any like additional
Wild
commercial yeasts. They just press the juice. They give it 8 to 9 months or 6 to 9 months, and they let it ferment with the wild yeast.
I kind of got to say a thing, right? Which is if you're this maybe it's a me thing, right? But I think that if I'm expecting a brandy from New York or a cider from New York, I like the open fermentation. I like the wild yeast mainly because it's awesome here for that. That's one of the places have different things. Okay, I love New York State. New York State does not have everything, but it has apples, and it got wild yeast. That's one thing that we got. Okay, it's one of my absolute favorite things. So I'm not surprised because I didn't expect anything less. I'm telling you that Shady Knoll is meeting all of my expectations as a New Yorker who expects a lot. Okay, I expect a blend of American and European apples. I double distilled, aged for 6 years in toasted American oak barrels, new American oak barrels, finished in, oh my God. Can you read that last line for me, Chandler?
Finished 3 to 4 months in Portuguese Madeira barrels. God, I love a Madeira finish. Madeira? Madeira. That's what it is. Madeira. I don't know. There's too many vowels in it. But I do love what it does.
Oh my
to a
fucking
spirit.
God.
I,
Pardon my French.
We've had Calvados on here. We've had Applejack. We've tried a couple different brandies. Anytime we have tried an apple brandy, I feel like it comes out tasting more like a just sharp distilled spirit. And this is the first time I feel like I've had an apple brandy that made me go, that is the essence of apple.
This is fucking fantastic. It's appley. And now I shouldn't have read this, but
Aptly named.
it says luminous with a warm glow.
Wow.
Bold and textured, but that I agree with, right? Because it's sweet. This is one of those things that's really hard to describe unless you've had it, which is why you should, in my personal opinion, you should give Shady Knoll's apple brandy a taste. Wow. Because
But don't take any of ours.
it's really hard, I think, to explain with words that a spirit that's distilled this way tastes so much like apples.
James, at the beginning of Homer's Iliad, the entire war between Spartans and Trojans started because Eros, the god of chaos, presented a golden apple, and goddesses were fighting amongst themselves to claim said apple as their own. And instead, they recruited a simple shepherd by the name of Paris to then decide who would get the apple. That's what's in here.
The golden apple, right?
This is what they were fighting over. This is fucking delicious.
It's really hard for me to explain to people who aren't from New York. And I try, I like to joke around a lot about New York, but I have a hard time expressing to people that going to an orchard in New York is a special experience because orchards are everywhere. You know what I mean? But this is the apple state. If you go to Florida, you get oranges. It's not going to be the same as if you were in even a really awesome place in Washington. You know what I mean? This is fantastic. It's rich. It's appley. It's you can.
There's a rustic, rooty element to it.
That's the wild yeast.
Like a little bit of a sassafras kind of undertone to it.
The wild yeast kind of gives me. You can taste. It's like having a farmhouse ale.
Yeah.
The yeasty Nate. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's yeasty.
It's call us the Yeasty Boys because I am about this.
Wow, that's absolutely fantastic.
Oh,
what we got?
It's almost kind of embarrassing how much we're fawning over this. I want to give a glowing review of a distillery that's been oh so generous to us, but
but I don't.
Exactly.
That's my whole thing is that
you want to make them earn it.
I kind of
surpassed.
Yeah, I kind of. Here's the thing, right? I'm not here to if somebody wants to be nice, I'm not going to call it terrible because it's not going to be bad. No, these companies are not pumping out terrible spirits until we come across one that does, right? But there's a difference, I think, between the gap between an Applejack and this. This is
even like a French Calvados.
Oh, of course.
That's because remember that little I think it was one of the first purchases I got from 9th Avenue where it was this little big and it was a cute little pink bottle and I was like, "Oh, I was picturing that would taste like this." And instead it just kind of tasted like a light cognac. so to speak.
Yeah, there's something I don't know, man.
This is otherworldly. In fact, hold on, we're double dipping.
Okay,
we're double dipping.
I'll
on
be
this.
real and say that I've never. I feel like I think Shady Knoll. I might have actually been there before. I think because the name seemed really familiar. I think I went there with my ex, but I didn't buy that. I just went apple picking.
Well, then you were missing out, buddy.
You know, but I've had other New York brandies, and I mean, I've not really had one like this, but some of the characteristics of this I've had before. The where you can taste the apple, right, and of the wild yeast. But I think that this is just better than the ones that I've had in the past. 80 proof, 40%. You know, not too boozy. It's obviously not sweet.
The fact that it's a 6-year brandy is kind of like jaw dropping.
But you get to do that when you're in if you're in Florida.
Wait, no, hear me out.
Okay, I'm hot.
So okay, these guys.
I'm damp.
They got this apple brandy, right? This apple brandy fucking rips, right? They also got this single barrel rye, right? And they aged the apple brandy in barrels, toasted barrels, not even charred, toasted, for 6 years. That's plenty of time for the apple brandy to impart an appliness to said barrel. Right?
Okay, I hear you.
Now, they got to empty those barrels at some point. And what perchance would they refill said barrel with?
Wait a minute. With rye?
Perchance to dream upon a rye barreled in apple brandy casks.
I kind of wonder how that would taste, though. I think because of how
Do you think the rye's too big?
I think the brandy's too big. I think the brandy is bigger than you would expect from a brandy, right? And I wonder, you know what? It sounds like Shady Knoll.
We have a challenge for you.
It sounds like I'm challenging.
We have to kind of check because, granted, we do have a pretty solid lineup of tastings right here. There's 2 other whiskeys that we don't have at our disposal right now. And again, God,
the 4 grain.
I love it when other people do research for me. But the 4 grain whiskey, let me just double check and see if these are finished. Nope, finished in the Portuguese port barrels.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Tim the Two-Man Taylor.
So, again, we don't have this now, but we might have to take a field trip specifically for their standard whiskey. It is a 42 percenter, 70% rye, 15% corn, 15% malted barley, fermented, distilled, double distilled, aged for at least 3 years in various used barrels, including Shady Knoll apple brandy, Shady Knoll rye, Portuguese port, and Jamaican rum.
Got you.
It's blowing my mind.
Okay, I get it.
Okay, so they're same page. They're on the same page as us. They're rocking. They're rolling. They're no scrubs. They didn't just get here. They didn't just wake up.
And it says in various used and includes them, which means it's not some of these. They do age them. To be clear, this whiskey is aged in apple brandy barrels, rye whiskey barrels, Portuguese barrels, and Jamaican rum barrels. And I think this is, oh God, I actually love this. This is real farm to table stuff right here, right? You have the orchard.
Yeah.
You make the brandy, right?
Yeah.
You, of course,
You have it at orchard. You make it a brand.
you source port barrels, and you source some barrels that are not used or whatever. You use them to finish your rye.
That reminds me. I have a business proposition for you later, but continue. Sorry.
No. And then now you have these barrels that are left over,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So what are you gonna do with them?
What am I gonna do with all these barrels?
You have to use the barrels, and I like that it says at least 3 years because they can change them around. This is one thing that I always kind of don't like, maybe because I prefer to know exactly what it's finished in and for how long. But it's better for the business to not be transparent, because if the business is communicating,
You gotta keep their cards a little.
you know what I
close to
mean?
their
Because
chest.
that way they can change it, they can shift it, they can move it around, depending on the season, depending on what they have. I like that though, because especially being local, family owned, homegrown, handcrafted, that means maybe each year or every few years their whiskey is gonna taste different.
God, I love a seasonal.
Right?
I love a variation, and that's why it's so cool to know
that what you want?
exactly what batch we're on.
Isn't that what you want? By the way, when you go to
Are you
a
not
to
entertained?
an orchard or something like this, to some place family owned, isn't what you want not some mass produced? Because nothing's worse. I've had this happen than going to a local orchard and they have
Has this ever
brandy,
happened to you?
but actually it's like a mass produced product off site.
Yeah. And
If
you're
they're
like,
kids, no, I'm kidding. I'm not saying that they do child labor. Farmers, by and large, do that. I'm not saying that. I am not
it's a
saying.
family business. Hey, you like Bob's Burgers, don't you? Then I don't want to hear you griping about child labor.
I'm just saying I don't
if they're
believe,
your kids, you can exploit them.
to my knowledge, and I really doubt that Shady Knoll is using child labor. But it would probably taste better if it did. So get those nephews, grandkids, nieces.
Well, you know, the little ones can really get up in the tallest parts of the tree without snapping the branches.
Have you seen an apple tree? They're not even that tall.
James, have I ever
Have
seen
you?
Have I ever seen an
I'm asking. I don't know. They.
somewhere?
Oh my god. This is the one we've been waiting for. Okay, but hold on. Business proposition.
Yeah. All right. So I was thinking about this the other day. Barrels, right? How do
Barrels.
they work?
How do they work?
So
We could put one there, by the way. Just saying.
as we know,
One can go there.
oh God, we could put barrels all up in this.
Technically, a
piece.
barrel can go right there.
I was thinking about this, right? Because as we all know, bourbon barrels.
Bourbon.
Needs to be made in new charred white American oak barrels.
Ooh.
And that means as soon as you use a barrel for bourbon, it can't be used for bourbon again.
Okay.
What if, because, you know, Coopers will make barrels, they'll sell them to distilleries, and then the distilleries have that barrel to do with whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
What if instead of selling the barrels, we rent them? You rent a barrel to maybe a mass producer, spirit, distiller kind of thing. They're just making juice. And then you rent the barrel to them so you can be like, hey, the juice you're making, now you can call it bourbon. And then 2 to 5 years go by and they're like, hey, I'm done with the barrel. Thanks. I got my juice out of it. And you're like, no problem. You take the barrel back. You now have a bourbon barrel. So now you can be like, hey, winemakers, you want a bourbon barrel, your Cab Sav? And the winemakers say, you know what? That sounds pretty neat. Let me bourbon barrel my Cab Sav. And you say, okay, I'll rent it to you for a little bit. And then they get done and they're like, hey, thanks for the barrel. And now you go, well, now I have a Cab Sav barrel. So then you go to a rye whiskey maker and you go, hey, rye whiskey, you want to finish your rye in a Cab Sav barrel? And they're like, well, that would give it an awful lot of depth and complexity. And then for a couple months go by and they get the juice from that. And then you come back and you go, you know who would probably be really stoked to try to like barrel something in a rye whiskey barrel? Like a beer producer. What if you had like a rye port, or not rye port, rye porter, or like a rye amber ale?
I was gonna yes but you for fun.
But this is kind of a
But
brilliant idea.
I think that this has to be real, because I do know that one of the biggest issues that some distilleries have is what to do with the barrels after.
What are you gonna do with all those
they
barrels?
tend to sell the barrel because you got to move the barrels, you got to transport the barrels. The barrels are heavy. The
And so-
barrels have liquid now inside of them, which increases the weight. You know what I mean? Actually,
And here's the catch too, because as a renter, as barrel renter, you would provide a certain amount of barrel insurance. You know, if a barrel breaks or if like one of the brackets around the
And you can recycle the barrels.
you can recycle the barrels.
So like you can use them to a certain degree. You keep track of where the barrels have been, so that you, without actually having to be a distillery or a brewer, can condition the barrels.
Yep.
Right.
You toast them yourselves. Maybe one or two slats in the barrels has an issue, and you're like, oh well. Under other circumstances, that distillery would just be like, well, that's a bum barrel. We're going to throw that one out. We'd be like, we're going to keep that barrel. We're going to replace it. Boom, bing, boom, boom, bow. That barrel's back in production. You still got all your barrels.
This sounds ethical. And then at end of life, the barrels could still be used. There's still things that you can use. Decorate. Yeah.
Firewood.
Yeah.
Well,
I wonder if it could be reclaimed. I wonder if the wood could be reclaimed.
You could do this. You could chip it. If like say you got a couple of barrel slats that are unusable, you chip it, and then you can sell that to like a home brewer, home distiller, or someone who wants to wood age something in a decanter. Boom, you put some wood chips in that, let it soak up, and then they filter it out. Now you got whatever thing with that. I don't know.
And it's a great idea. That's fantastic. I like that a lot. There's a lot of cool things you can do with that, actually.
Where dreams can see us through.
Because there's different things you can do, man. I love that. I love that because, I mean, here's the thing. That's the perfect thing, especially if you want to, as a small business, you're like, okay, there's nothing wrong with sourcing from MGP. I like to joke about it, but like, no duh. If it takes 5 years to make something and you want to start the business, how are you going to do it? You're going to wait 5 years unless you're a billionaire, You
got to get started, and then you just got to pump out vodka or gin or whatever in the meantime.
I think that's the kind of cool thing, because then you can also save the money. If you're a small business, there can be a thing where really small businesses don't even have to really pay for the barrels.
I feel like as soon as you post this, I'm going to have a Cooper's Union knocking down my door and being like, you're blowing up our fucking spot.
I
dude.
know, right? No, think about that, because you can charge a discounted rate for the smaller breweries and distilleries to make their port
or you can even broker in this way, because, the company that I work for, they have their like proprietary whiskey, but they source the whiskey from like a mass producer kind of thing, and they will do their blends and stuff. You could kind of broker in the middle of that and be like, look, that place is making your juice. You want to put your name on a bottle that has a distinct and unique flavor and a taste and all of that. Let me be your barrels, and I will give you distinct and unique barrels so that you can curate a distinct and unique brand for your bottles.
I kind of feel like MGP had to get started this way, because from what I understand, you can do everything from purchasing completely aged whiskey from them, completely aged spirits or whatever, to literally picking out everything individually and them aging it for you, depending on how much you want to pay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that feels like the kind of business that you would just fall into if you were at first.
As you expand, you'd have warehouses yourself to be like, well, we'll age it in our thing. It's temperature controlled, yada, yada, yada. Yeah.
But I think I would just store it for them. I think instead of producing it and distributing it ourselves, it'd be cooler for them to just help them, because the part that's expensive is having the space. And having the equipment's expensive as well. So instead of us making it for you, there's different options. One option could be you rent a barrel for your space, or for a little bit more, maybe not to, you can rent effectively like a storage unit.
Like a warehouse.
Where you can still go in there yourself. Your distiller can be in there, Or
blender, I suppose.
Or blender, because I think that the thing about MGP and stuff is that they have their own. You know what I mean? This could be, it's still you. It's kind of like the WeWork of
me.
Okay, I would have. Goddamn, I can't. It's kind of like the WeWork of because then it's like you have the space.
Now I'm turned off.
But WeWork failed. WeWork failed.
Now you made me soft. You mentioned WeWork.
WeWork failed because I mean, the pandemic has not ended. Okay, woo. But like during 2020, it makes sense. You want to be at home. You might have to work. You work from home. You're gonna be outside of your house, right? But like, I don't know, like paying $100-something, it's really hard to maintain those, especially in a big city. You have a lot of rent. You know what I mean? You have to pay the people a lot. This would not be in the middle of a city.
No.
You know what I mean? So like the rent
would be like somewhere up north, like in the Hudson Valley.
And you would have to own the land as well.
Like maybe even a place like Millbrook.
Like let's say Millbrook. No, because that's where the places are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then if you wanted to start your own distill, like Shady Knoll, for example, they have their own land. But let's say, for example, they had everything that they have now, but they're short a little bit of land.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like they just didn't have enough for a warehouse for aging.
You can save a lot of money like that.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of place you could partner with to sell equipment as well.
God, we're so enterprising. That's crazy.
Now this, I've been looking at this. This is foggy. This is not clear. This looks more like a cider at the eye, but you poured it from one of those and into a Glencairn.
Well,
Technically, this isn't Glencairn, technically,
it is
right?
a Glencairn.
But they don't really call them that. They call them sniffers and stuff.
A snifter.
This
a
smells...
wholly newer.
Okay, this smells like cider. Cider.
Well, that's quite a keen nose you got on you, because in fact, this Pommon is essentially a blend of the apple brandy and fresh pressed apple cider. Well, I guess apple juice, so to speak. But again, it's made from the same 120 varietals of European and American apples from our family farm orchard. But they also took the juice that's just the straight juice, and they did the whole apple brandy, and then
I just slapped the picture of your mother.
My mother.
Your mother's amazing, but I did that because, whoa.
Yeah, this is like candy. This is like liquid candy. This is a cocktail in a glass.
That's not part of the song. This just I don't know the whole. This is like candy. This is what the hell? Oh my god.
Yeah, so it's the apple brandy, but after they do all the distillation, after they do all that jazz,
this is it.
They add apple juice and they rest it in the brandy barrels.
This is it. It's dry, but slightly. It's sweet. It's not too boozy.
Fuck me.
This is rich. Fuck apple juice. This is an aperitif of the gods.
Yeah, that tastes like spiced poached apple.
This is the kind of thing that if you look back in the past, you're like, oh, people were drinking beer all the time and drinking cider and hard cider all the time.
You're going to say it's like sweet ambrosia.
This is what people, this is the kind of thing.
And this clocks in at 17%.
Yeah,
ABV.
You drink this, you ferment it a little bit, you mix it with the apple juice to purify, make sure you don't get no germs or whatever. And this is rich, it's delicious, it's sweet. 120 apples, 69 months, wild yeast, double distilled. That's the part with the.
That's the apple brandy.
Yeah.
That's the base.
Yeah.
And then they just put apple juice in it. And you're probably wondering, if they put apple juice in it, why doesn't it keep like fermenting or anything? Because they put enough of the distilled apple brandy in it to halt any fermentation. And so it stays at that 17%. This is fucking delicious. This is decadent. This is sinfully delightful.
More. What? Whoa. It's almost like candy for adults.
It's its own cocktail, essentially. Like it's just
an aperitif, right?
It's an aperitif.
It's before or after dinner. You know what I mean?
But I think you could cocktailize it.
Could you? Okay, let me think about that. I would say yes, but in that case, it'd be something chilled, something bright, something a little tall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And probably with some kind of sparkling water or seltzer to give it some bubbles.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go too hard on it because I think it's sweet. It's, this is fantastic. Okay. You know what? I cannot be bought. This is a big thing. Is I refuse. You cannot give me 4 ounces of spirit and expect me to just be like, but I don't know what you expect from me in this. I don't know what the cost is. That's the only thing.
I cannot be bought, but I can be persuaded.
I know, right? As long as this is not like $90, I doubt it is. If anything, I bet you this is more affordable. It has to be.
It's mostly apple juice.
It has to be. It's mostly apple juice.
It's what, 83% apple juice to the 17% alcohol? Yeah, that's
Wow.
That would be a great gift.
I would throw about. You know the problem with that is, it's probably not cheap enough to buy a bunch of bottles and just throw them back because I could see myself on a hot summer day when I'm writing, like sitting there at my laptop with like a yeah. Like, man, you give me a glass of ice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Honestly, what I would do, very simple, is I would probably get it. I'd put it in like a Collins glass with ice, fill it up about 3/4 of the way, top it with a little sparkling water, give it a stir, like a light stir, not too heavy, so you don't, so that some of the bubbles are still on top.
Just like a little spritz.
Yeah. That way, because you want to give it a little stir, so that the bubbles aren't only on the top, but you don't want to stir too much.
Because then it would dissipate the bubbles.
Dissipate the bubbles.
Well, if you're really good, you'd take like you'd have soda gun and thing. You go.
Okay, I don't have a soda gun in my house.
Sucks to suck.
I don't have a soda gun in my house. What'd you want from me? Okay.
Get better.
How do you pronounce this though? That's the we didn't
Paul.
Palma.
Palma.
Oh yeah, and Palma.
Palma. That's delicious. Like, there's really not much more we can say about it. Just that it's so good, and it's okay.
Now, hold on. Before you make this thought, okay? This is for the people over here, okay? The last 2 weeks, I think standing up makes us recording go by faster.
Oh, are we like way over?
No, not yet.
Oh.
But the last 2 weeks, over an hour and 15 minutes.
Wow.
Okay? And that says an hour, and I did it like 10 minutes earlier.
We also had like flights of 4 or more.
Yeah, but I feel like before we were sitting, I think something about sitting makes it take longer.
Yeah.
This feels a little bit more conversational, a little more fun.
A little active.
Yeah, and even more than that, it just feels like we're engaging with you a little bit more. So do not forget that if you like what's happening here, please let us know in the comments below. I have been seeing the comments. And I just want to say I appreciate y'all for the awesome feedback. You haven't seen the comments. They've been telling us how awesome they are, how good the stuff seems, how much they would like to be here with us. And we wish that you were here with us too. Chandler.
Yes.
Coming to final thoughts.
Well,
you're pouring some more of this Palme de Mo?
Palma.
Is that happening?
That is what it's happening.
It is my birthday, so I mean.
I was just about to say, and in celebration of James's happy birthday.
I definitely reached out of frame. Don't ever do that. That's why I bet you I fucked myself.
Oh, like with the focus and everything?
Nah, it'll be fine.
No, the pommel I think is fantastic. I just had like a little like thought of maybe you could do some sort of glaze with it, like use it in a cooking sense, but also it's just too damn delicious.
Reduce it. I can see that. You reduce it down a little bit, then you get the appleness, the sweetness, and a little bit of that brandy. Okay.
I don't know, just a thought. But yeah, the pommel, fucking phenomenal.
At this point, our imaginary bar has every single thing we've ever tasted in it.
Yeah. I could see this being like next to the Aperol, and we'd be like, hey, you want an Aperol spritz or do you want a pommel?
So, I love these. All seem super even though they can do it all year round. Obviously, it's spirits. These seem very seasonal to me. This feels like seasonal cocktails. You know what I mean? So like during the summer, you pull out the seasonal cocktails, and that's when you have them. Whatever one's the most popular that people order the most, you keep a year round for people to be able to order.
It does feel like a very late summer, early autumnal kind of seasonal cocktail.
Yeah.
Like before
I'm a New
pumpkin
Yorker.
season.
It's all year.
So what? It's all year round.
I'm a New Yorker. No, it's all summer. You know, because it's like that. Just when you start going to orchards in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, oh, it's a little too hot, and then you start. Then the peak season is in around October, because that's when the orchards do the maze. You know, they do mazes, corn mazes, kid stuff, Halloween things,
tractor rides,
and that's the end of the season.
That's the close.
Yeah. So like you would probably like, I feel like the middle of the summer, because like the Puma, bright, chilled,
juicy.
You know what I mean?
Delicious.
The brandies, I can see them lasting into the winter.
Yeah.
You know, I think that the regular brandy, spiced. If you want us to do that, you know what you can do? Let us know in the comment section below.
Cheers. Happy birthday, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I wanted it so bad. This is so good.
Thank you for joining us on Was That in Good Taste? Presents Behind the Bar Productions, The Tasting Table. And it's been another big thanks to Shady Knoll Distillery. We have thoroughly enjoyed the variety of products that you have allowed us to taste. Remember, drinking is not necessarily required.
But drinking Shady Knolls, apple, batch brandy, Puma, single barrel rye, and the traditional rye
whiskey
is recommended.
Cheers.